here with Karen Wheaton and Andrew Brown from Brown Lawyers. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Dan.
I love your philosophy. Your philosophy, or one of them, is don't buy your lawyer a boat. And what you're referring to there is your proactive stance on law for business owners. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means and where that came from?
Yeah, well, it started off with how the way that law is consumed traditionally really doesn't work for folks. Most folks really only go to a lawyer when they have a problem. And we kind of picked up on that at a certain point and identified, wow, what if people went to lawyers before they had a problem, right? People go to their dentist because they don't want a cavity. They go to their mechanic, every 6 months, hopefully, because they don't want to buy a new car every year or every 2 years. And so the same idea applies to our business, trying to basically create services for individuals, families, business owners that will basically have them engage in managed legal services from the outset, so that you can identify challenges in a person's life or in a business or just because of their activities or what they're involved in, and try to address those and put things in place so that those challenges never become problems. Okay, or if they do, as they materialize, at least we know what we're going to do. And what that ultimately does is reduces basically costs, not just financial, but emotional, which is extremely significant. And the idea by don't buy your lawyer a boat is basically, for a consumer who's out there, if they're not doing anything to proactively engage with their legal health, really all they're doing is waiting till something happens, right? And when you have a problem, that's when you're likely to buy a lawyer a boat, because...
As in, when you're saying that, you mean it's because it's reactive and there's going to be a lot of back and forth, it's a lot of fees that are increasing.
That's right, because you're in that situation that really, if you go back,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble, and it's a couple of years. It would be the same idea of going, figuring out you got cancer and going to your doctor and saying, "Hey, I don't want the cancer." Well, it's too late, right? What are we going to do now? So most lawyers, conflict lawyers, they make a lot of money because people ignore their legal health or take action way too late. And the idea is to avoid all of that. Don't buy your lawyer a boat. Right?
So the idea really is shifting the model, so you don't go, don't wait till you're in absolute crisis mode to then go hire a lawyer, but instead, sort of bring a lawyer on as part of your normal everyday team who kind of works with you. You invest in those services throughout your life. So the idea you're putting yourself in a better position all the way along. So you're not going to ideally have those enormous crises. They're going to cost you a lot of money, when those things do come, you're much more prepared, and it's a better experience.
Gotcha. So what about for the folks that are thinking, well, I don't have anything wrong right now. I don't anticipate anything going wrong. Say in the context of the business owners, my partner's great, my suppliers are great, everything's going well, but things are hunky-dory. Why do I need to stir the pot and bring up potential conflicts? What would you say to folks who kind of think everything's fine? They probably don't need to be thinking ahead like that, maybe just kind of not want to deal with things.
Well, the truth is, life is full of challenges. Business is full of challenges. Challenges will happen. Right? Whether those are problems with a partner, or challenges because of a supplier or employees, or just reacting to economic uncertainty, the marketplace. To think we can go through life and not encounter challenges, I think is a little bit foolish, a little bit reckless. So it's the ability to really accept that there are things that are going to come up, because life is fluid. Right? We all make plans, but life doesn't go just in one straight direction, right? There are ups and downs, and that's the nature of life, right? Life being a wheel, going around, and you ride and you're on the high, but it will bring you back down, and just like it brought you down, it'll bring you back up. The idea is to not stay at the bottom too long.
Gotcha. Make that ride quick.
Make that ride quick. And also know when you're on the downstroke of that wheel, you know what to do to get back, and you've got the momentum to do that. And so the idea is to be able to actually build a lot more resiliency within a business or a life or a family, because when you're talking about these issues, communicating, being proactive about challenges we know are going to come up, for instance, okay, well, what if my partner wants to sell and I don't? what are we going to do? Are we just going to deal with that situation when the time comes? Or are we going to have a thought about this and create a dialogue about it well in advance?
So it's like a common item, right? The shareholder agreement.
Right, and it's understanding, breaking away from some of those terms, because a shareholders agreement implies, I think, a little bit more of a it's a transaction, it's a document, it's a piece of paper, right? But really, we try to identify those things as more of what they call business owner and management plans. Okay, the idea is to build a process to have these discussions with whoever you're in a relationship with, whether it is your business partner or your domestic situation or your estate and your family. But the idea is to, through conversation and dialogue, you create a common language, right? Create common goals, values, so that you increase the chances that whenever those challenges do come up, you've already worked on a lot of things already. You've got, even if it's you're encountering things you never discussed in the past, because that's another thing that happens in life, unforeseeable things. But to be able to create resiliency through, again, common language, values, principles, and you're able to do that because you've had a lot of these guided conversations ahead of time, and you also have these tools that you've created, i.e., a shareholders agreement, ultimately that reflects what you agreed to, right? And over time, we'd say these are things that need to get maintained, because that's a big part of it. Your legal health and just all of it is happening all the time. Right? Mm-hmm. These aren't moments in time. I've got a shareholders agreement. Great, we signed off on it. It's we don't have to look at that, right? It's in the for 20 years. But it doesn't work like that. That shareholders agreement really is just a tool for your business, and really to be able to revisit that and to have it change and reflect, because your business is changing, your relationship is constantly changing and evolving, and we need our same things to do with all of our legal tools that we're using. They need to change and evolve as well.
Gotcha. So in that example, the shareholder agreement is an output from that dialogue that's happening, from being proactive. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the things that you see that what are some of the best practices a business owner would want to think about in terms of their exposure and things that they can actually start planning for? Hopefully they never happen, but putting some steps in place to be ready just in case. We have the shareholder agreement. What else? What are some other examples?
Well, I think, in any kind of shareholders agreement, you're going to address some of the basic stuff, like what's going to happen if one of us were to pass away, what's going to happen if one of us is no longer able to work as a result of some kind of illness or health situation, what if one of us wants to go off in a different direction. So these are all, common examples of things that would typically be discussed and plans would be created for. Often also for small business owners, they're usually dealing with a lot of other outside relationships, whether it's with other businesses that they're entering into arrangements with that, to help serve their customers and clients better. So there are a lot of opportunities to manage those relationships as well. So that's where we can come alongside again with that proactive, preventive approach and help facilitate all of that and setting those people up for success as well.
Right. So helping them understand some of the things that maybe possibly coming down the track that they're not even aware of. Yeah. You can bring that perspective, or their legal health team can help with that. Okay, guys, what are some of the biggest mistakes that business owners make in terms of their legal health, and what are some of the cost or the impact of those mistakes?
I think probably really the biggest mistake that business owners make is basically ignoring their legal health. Basically by doing nothing, that's basically a huge missed opportunity to take control of what's going on in your business, which obviously has trickle effects going over into your personal, private life as well. And basically just sort of say, whatever, I'll deal with it when the time comes. But of course what that means... That's that reactivity, right? Yeah. But of course what that means is you're opting out of the opportunity that exists right now to sort of plan and make decisions at a time when you're not in a situation of crisis, not in a conflict, when of course the quality of the decisions you're going to be making are much higher and are going to be done in deliberation and consultation with the other people that it impacts.
You're not in that a heightened emotional state where you're not
right.
really
where you're
using
just I just need to exit out of this stressful situation at whatever the cost, right? So you're going to end up with better results, better outcomes by taking that opportunity. So again, I think what most business owners, by not doing that, is just a huge missed opportunity.
Gotcha. So they're not planning ahead, and then when something does happen, then it's panic stations or that emotional situation kicks in, and then they're not making clear decisions. Yeah. And there's urgency. I guess it's the other part too. When something's going a little bit sideways, we have that level of urgency, which just ups the pressure and the stress altogether. It could be into small items as well, I guess. It doesn't have to be a great big blowout of a business partner relationship. It could be something small as well. But if it has to get dealt with now, it has repercussions that are going to be coming down the pipe right away. Like there's that time pressure to deal with it too. And that's
which of course, as the lawyer on your team as well, makes it there's less options for us to because you're in a time crunch. There's certain that you don't have as many options on the table as you would have before. So it's your lawyer can actually do a better job for you if you come to them earlier.
Gotcha. Now you mentioned that with having a legal challenge in your business that it can spill into other areas of life. So I'm assuming you mean personal life and maybe some of that stress that we talked about. So what are some things that you guys see happening to business owners when they have a legal challenge that they haven't been proactive with and they're working through? What are some of the things that happen to them on the personal level that could be avoided if they're a little more proactive?
Yeah, often when there is those types of conflicts within a business, whether that's with a business partner or say an employee or things aren't going the way that they were hoping it would go, obviously that takes up a lot more emotional presence within the business, and it's basically taking away from other aspects of your life. We often hear that a spouse will often complain that I don't want to talk about this anymore. Every day you come home and it's the same thing. Or, Dad, Mom, I'm done with this. I don't want to hear you talk about it anymore. But really the truth is, if you're spending your energies, wrapped up in this conflict, in this problem, you're not feeding the other aspects of your life, right? Your physical health usually takes a toll in all of this. You're taking away from your relationships with your spouse or your kids or whatever the case may be. And certainly, we find, and this goes for not just business owners, anyone who's involved in any sort of legal conflict, they are removing themselves from the community. Their potentials aren't there. They're not contributing to the community the way that they would if they were acting at, reaching their full potential. And that really is the spillover, right?
And their business growth is getting stunted at the same time, all the huge distraction or whatever's going on.
It's a massive, massive opportunity cost, right? Because you're not going to perform at peak performance. You're not going to be out there, marketing or land, could affect sales and certainly morale within a team, right?
I could certainly see that in a business context. If a business owner is in the middle of some type of a challenge, I mean, as the head of the company, he or she, the energy that they bring filters down towards everybody. So if they're distracted, stressed out, worried, they may not be driving forward the way they need to or supporting their team the way they need to be getting supported as well.
Right. And imagine the opposite, right? Imagine a business owner that is in complete control, right? That they have been able to look at things. It doesn't mean they're not going to run into challenges, because they absolutely will, but they would have had the opportunity to plan out these and going, yeah, I knew that was coming, or that at least there was a possibility for that. And in fact, I already know what I need to be doing about this. I need to get this resource, or we're going to do this, or this is set this tool that we mapped out before. This is what it's going to tell us what to do. And imagine how that can have a trickle down on a team, right? Walking around like a boss, right? And that's going to translate. It's like, hey, look, I'm, everything's bouncing off me because I'm prepared, right? And I'm in control of this. And whatever comes our way, gang, we're going to be able to tackle and be stronger than ever.
Being able to maintain some of that business owner mojo, that energy and enthusiasm.
100%, right? That passion for it,
worrying
right?
so much.
Yeah, no, because no one got into business wanting to have their emotions hijacked by conflict, the negative parts of things, right? And so to be able to get back and focus, on the passion and realizing a vision, whatever business journey they happen to be on, to be able to stay on that.
Try to be able to continue moving forward confidently, positively, and not be getting completely blown out and sidetracked with some kind of a challenging conflict situation.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So what about some of the personal side? There's the proactive business legal planning. What about on the personal side? What are some of the things that business owners or non-business owners need to be doing, or maybe specifically business owners on the personal side to protect their business too? Things like estate planning, cohabitation agreements, those types of things. What are some of the things that business owners need to bear in mind on their personal life that could impact their business, legally speaking?
Yeah, any business owner or any person really should have a plan, have basic wills and powers of attorney and everything all lined up that's going to address what's going to happen with the business and, of course, all the other assets that they own on their death. And then, of course, we do recommend, if a business owner is in any kind of a spousal relationship, that they should have a conversation with their spouse as well. Talk about what does this all mean, right? What's going to happen with the business, and set expectations about, so that everybody knows is on the same page if there were to be a death, or if they they were to go through a separation, people kind of know what to expect, and they're kind of managing that and making sure that the outcome is one that everybody thinks makes sense and that is fair for
And if they
everybody
had a
that's
business,
involved.
if they had a business partner as well, it'd be important that that is sorted out so that everybody involved knows
Yeah.
what would happen.
Yeah, it's that taking the opportunity to be in control and to sort of just decide what is the outcome that all of these people that are kind of have a stake in this are going to think is appropriate, right? And setting those ground rules.
Right, to make sure that we haven't got, what's the saying, when a business partner passes away, you're all of a sudden you're in business with their spouse, which may or may not be the person you would choose.
Right, which most people
May not
would
be
not
ideal.
have chosen.
Right,
Yeah.
so you can have a path around something like that. And again, that, depending on the size of your business, if you got 50, 100 staff and the leader passes away, that's bad enough as it is. But then if there's a partner as well that's having a challenge with the spousal partner that's now coming in, that could create a whole lot of havoc in the business as well, affecting hundreds of people if it's 100 odd staff.
And then the other part of that is, of course, having a plan for the succession of the business, because most business owners don't want to work forever. That's kind of the point, right?
Yes,
So,
very much so.
Developing some kind of meaningful, purposeful exit strategy is also important for the business and for the business owner as well. So,
how far out should someone plan that? A business owner, if they're plan that exit strategy, what do you recommend for the timing to start thinking about that?
the earlier the better.
Like right from the get-go.
Right
Say we're
from the
starting a
get-go.
company,
Yeah.
me and my partner, and then I want to map out that exit strategy for right at the get-go.
Yeah, because again, the quality of your plan is only going to improve over time. So if you start planning now, you're going to have a better plan when the time comes, versus if you start planning a year before you're going to retire, well, you've kind of limited yourself.
Again, like you said, when we're up
Yeah.
against a timeline,
That's right.
we're out of options, or we
That's
have
right.
diminished options.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's really important that everyone who's in business understand, and having the people that are around them supporting them, i.e. spouses, family, whatever it is, why are we doing this? Right? What is the point? And are we clear on all of that, right? Because we often see challenges in a business, or even successes in a business can have, often does have obviously an effect on the relationship at home, right? And you really need to be on the same page as a part of that. Going, okay, well, look, he's going to be away from the office for 10 years, okay? We're good. Or away from home for 10 years, right? And then it's done, right? And then we're getting out, right? Is that the plan? Maybe, but we have to be on the same page, because when we have unmet expectations, right, or we don't know what those expectations are, we're going to get into conflict, right?
Or at the very minimum, a lot of frustration.
Absolutely, right? And it doesn't mean you're not going to survive, but also it goes to the quality of life and living your best life, and the more that we can share and discuss and be on the same page with the people that are around us, the better.
Awesome. Makes a lot of sense. So guys, we've covered a lot of ground. We're talking about being proactive with our legal health, planning ahead, expecting that there's going to be challenges. Hopefully we'll never want that, but realizing that that's how life goes sometimes, having a plan in place. Being able to reduce our stress should something come up. So in fact, being organized, being proactive, planning, having that confidence that you can handle what's coming up. So, and that's something you're helping business owners with every day. So if someone wants to reach out to you to get a perspective on their own legal health, what's the best way to connect with you guys?
Yeah, simply reach out any number of ways, calling, emailing, and we'll set up a time to get together, do a diagnostic and get to know them, and try to understand what their vision is behind all of that, and see where we can help and be able to propose something and get everything as best we can in order.
Awesome. Thanks so much. We'll put your contact information in the show notes. So guys, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks, Dan.
Great to learn more about what you do. Awesome.